Hello, everyone. This hour on Verbling, the next in my Conditional Mysteries series. We're going to be doing a new mystery, and we're going to speed up our game with a few new rules. I'll tell you all about it in just a minute. First, a little bit about me. I'm Jon-Eric, your Verbling teacher for this hour. I'm an American teacher from New York, hanging out in Lisbon, Portugal to bring you this class. By the way, here are 3 quick rules to help you participate. Don't forget to turn off, tune in, and open up. That means turn off your microphone when you're not speaking so we can keep the classroom quiet. Tune in to the new words you're learning and the conditionals. Use them actively so that I can correct you and give you feedback. Finally, open up to your classmates. Relax and have fun. We're all here to learn, and this is a safe and respectful place to practice your English. This is also a safe and respectful place to talk to Shadow. Hello, Shadow. How are you?
Hello, teacher. I'm fine, thank you. How about you?
I'm all right. Pretty good. Let's see if we've got some other people. We've got people signed up. Maybe they're shy. Tell them to come in, Shadow. Say, come on in, people. It's okay.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give you a link right now to open. Losing my voice. Copy link. Done. Oh, my voice is bad. And there you go. That's our document. Open that up. I'll also share my screen a little bit later. Open that up. And I've got to open 2 things on my side. Oh, you're not able to open documents, right?
I open it.
Oh, you can? Okay, because before you were in a car and you couldn't open things.
No, I'm not in the car. I'm on holiday right now.
Oh, okay. So when you're not on holiday, you're in the car.
No, I was coming from
Nice.
university, so it's...
Ah, got it. Okay, so here we go. Who we got? Oh, we've got Sophie as well. So Shadow, let's say hi to Sophie. Hello, Sophie. How are you?
Hello, teacher. Fine, thanks.
Hello,
And
Sophie.
where are you from, Sophie?
Hello, Shadow.
And where are you from, Sophie?
I'm from Colombia.
From Colombia. Fantastic. Okay, well, you're here with Shadow and me. I'm your Verbing teacher. See, you can see it on the screen. If you open that link, by the way, I'll put the link also on the group chat. If you open that link, you're going to see this. I'm going to share my screen with you just quickly. There we go. Take a look. So you can see this graphic, so you know that you've got the right document open. Okay? And what we're going to do today, I'm going to change the rules a little bit. So for those of you who have been in the class before, I worked a lot more on conditionals. But today I'm going to work more on questions than conditionals. So we're going to go right to our mystery. And then before we decide how to solve the mystery, we'll go and review our conditionals. Okay? So we're going to work on the questions first because I think it'll make the game go a little faster. So on the second page, you've got my contact details, and you've got the table of contents. I've got a little review of conditionals on the next page, which on page 3, we'll do that later. And then you can see on the next page the mysteries we've done so far. So we're going to start with looking at last class's mystery, just so you can see how the game is played. All right? So on page 6, you can see what we did last week. The mystery was there. The man is, I'll put it here in yellow so you can see it clearly. The man is driving his car. He turns on a radio and listens for 5 minutes. Suddenly he turns around and goes home and shoots his wife. That was last week's mystery. And to try to figure out what really happened, I asked you to ask me questions. And so below that, you can see the questions. There are only yes and no questions. And I said, you can ask me 10 questions before you have to solve the mystery. Okay, and I can only answer yes and no. So we're going to do that again today. If you go down to page 8, I've got a new mystery for you. You can see it on your screen, by the way. You're going to ask me yes and no questions. Depends on how many people. If we just have 2, maybe I can give you more than 10. Okay? If we got a lot of people, we got to keep it short. I can only answer yes and no to your questions. After, we'll say, maybe the 10th question, I'm going to ask you to try to figure out what happened based on what you know. Then you've got to go back to your conditionals, which I'll help you with. We'll review them and make a conditional sentence. Like, well, if he had been angry at his wife, he might have driven home. That would be an example of the 3rd conditional. Okay, but we'll get to that in the second part. First, let's play our game. Hang on a second. I'm just going to make a quick change to the document. 1 second. There we go. Okay. So, Shadow, would you do us the honor of reading today's mystery?
Okay. Harry, a world-famous archaeologist who just returned from Africa with his wife and 2 children, believes he has found the missing link. That is to say, the bones of our common ancestor with the apes.
So that's what the missing link is. It's the bones of our common ancestors with the apes. Have you heard of the missing link before?
No.
There was a famous case where they reconstructed a skeleton a long time ago, and they thought that this was the connection between man and the apes. So he thinks he's found it.
Okay. Susie, a museum director, finds out and calls him immediately to ask if he's willing to sell them to the museum. He agrees, to her surprise, and adds that by coincidence, both he and Jane and little Jack and Jill will all be in New York that day for a lecture. Susie invites him to dinner, but then adds that he should bring Jane and little Jack and Jill along with him, and that her kids can play with little Jack and Jill if they get bored. Harry suddenly recants.
Changes his mind.
Recants his agreement and hangs up the phone. Why?
So Harry gets angry and changes his mind. He's not going to sell his artifacts to the museum. Why? What did Susie do? That's our mystery for today. Remember, I can only answer yes and no questions. Oh, and we got someone else here. Who is this? Prathan, you're back.
Yeah, I'm glad to see you again.
There you go. And this time you look like a puppy. You've changed.
Yes, change from the Jason.
All right. Prath, did you hear the mystery that Shadow was reading? Did you catch it all? It's okay, very good. Okay. So remember, I can't tell you information. I can only answer yes and no questions. You have to try to get as much evidence as you can by asking me yes and no questions. Okay? Shadow, the first question goes to you.
Okay. So just any question. I don't have to choose. I mean, to ask with the style of conditional.
No, forget about that. We'll do that at the very end. Just yes and no questions. Try to figure out what really happened. Try to get evidence.
Is the problem that make him do that? It's because she asked him to bring his children.
It's the problem that she asked him to bring his children. That's a very good question, Shadow.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know how to answer that. Is the problem that she asked him to bring his children? I have to answer. I can't answer that. That's the problem. How do I answer that? I can't say yes or no. Um, okay, I'll say, I'll say, I'll say yes, yes, Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
But to be clear, it's it's because it's because she asked. It's because I can't even give you a hint, Shadow. Yes, yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and
Um,
no. We'll see if we can figure out if I can give you more clues this time. Oh, Yuki's here too. I didn't see you come in. Uh, just a quick review. Sophie, you're going to be next. Just a quick review. Listen carefully. Harry, a world-famous archaeologist who just returned from Africa with his wife and 2 children, believes he has found the missing link. That is to say, the missing link is the bones of our common ancestors with the apes. Susie, a museum director, finds out and calls him immediately to ask if he would sell them to the museum. Guess what? He agrees, to her surprise. And he adds that by coincidence, both he and Jane and little Jack and Jill will all be in New York for a lecture that day. Susie invites him to dinner, but then adds that he should bring Jane and little Jack and Jill along with him, and even that her children can play with little Jack and Jill if they get bored. Harry recants. He gets angry. He recants his agreement, hangs up the phone. Why? So, Sophie, you're up. Remember, you can only ask me a yes or no question.
Why Harry recants?
I can't answer that because it's a why question. I can only answer is he, does he, can he, would he, should he. I can only answer yes and no questions. So rephrase the question, Sophie, and then I can answer it.
Answer the question.
So if you say,
Shade?
Sophie, if you say, why does Harry hang up? Guess what? I can't answer that question. But I could answer, does Harry hang up because if you give me a reason, that is a yes or no question. I can answer that. So finish that question, Sophie. Does Harry hang up because? That's one way you could ask it.
Does Harry hang up because he recants?
Because he recants? No, he doesn't hang up because he recants. Can you think of a reason why he might hang up, Sophie? What reason might he have based on what you heard and read? What reason might he have? Perché? What do you think?
Because he play with the children.
Ah, okay. Does Harry hang up because Susie says kids can play with little Jack and Jill? I'm going to change your sentence just a little bit, okay? Just a bit. So
Okay.
now it's a yes and no question because you start with does, and the answer is yes. That's why he hangs up. Well, she says that. That's exactly the reason why. That does not solve the mystery yet, but that's the reason why. Prath, the next yes and no question goes to you. Remember, you're trying to get evidence. When we get to 10 questions, you're going to use a conditional to try to figure out the mystery. So, Prath, what's your question?
Can use why, no? It's not yes or no question.
Can you use while? Well, ask it. Let's see. If it's wrong, I'll help you change the form. So ask your question and let's see how it sounds.
What is the missing link?
What is the missing link? Well, I'll tell you what. I can't answer that question because it begins with a what. But I can tell you what the missing link is. The missing link is a fossil, a skeleton from hundreds of thousands of years ago, maybe 1 million years ago, that connects humans to apes. That's what the missing link is. So now you've got to ask me a yes or no question to try to figure out why Harry changes his mind. By the way, look, yes and no. Yes and no questions look like this. You could say, is he? I'm going to say he, but it could be it, or it could be she. Does he? Will he? It could be he, it could be she, it could be it. Any of those. Whoops. Everyone there? Okay. So, whoops. Oh, no, I made a little mistake there. I'm going to say he, but it could be he, she, or it. Okay? So just to give you a quick idea of what yes and no questions need to start with. The verb to be, the verb to do, the verb to have, will, can, could, shall, should. They cannot start with what, who, when, where. They cannot start with those. So Prath, try again. This time, make it a yes-no question and try to get some evidence.
Does Harry bring up the bone?
Does Harry dig up the bones?
Bring up the bone.
Like you bring it up in conversation? Or you mean bring it up out of the earth?
Bring up from the earth.
So we're going to say dig rather than bring. So that's about the past, isn't it? Did Harry dig up the bones in Africa? That's where he was. Did he dig up the bones in Africa? And the answer is yes. Yes, he did. He's a famous archaeologist. I don't know if that helps you solve the mystery, though. I'm not sure.
I will try to find the question again.
Okay. Yuki, what do you think?
Sorry. Just a second.
I'll show you the mystery again.
I'm now bubbling with opening. Sorry. I'm kicked out.
That's weird.
Okay. Sorry, Sophie, I muted you. Okay. Question, yeah?
Yeah. So Shadow asked, is the problem that he asked him to bring his children? She asked him, Susie. And I said, yes and no. I can't really answer that. Right? Sophie asked, does Harry hang up because Susie says her kids can play with little Jack and Jill? Yes. Bingo. That's getting warmer. Prath asked, did Harry dig up the bones in Africa? He did, but now we're getting a little colder. In other words, I don't know if that's related. So getting colder, though. So what question would you ask?
What is the missing link? Why museum director Suji
Don't start with why. I can't answer why, so I can only answer yes and no.
Yes, no.
Yeah, it's yes, no.
Yes, no.
Does she? Can she? Will she? Would she?
Did he agreed to? Did he agreed to give his missing ring to the museum? No?
Did he agree? Well, we know he did, right?
Yes.
We know that he did because he agrees.
Yes.
And then she asks him about dinner, and he then changes his mind, right? So he did initially agree, but then he got angry at Susie. The real mystery is, why did he get angry at Susie just because she asked him about dinner and playing with Jack and Jill? So I think Shadow is on the right track. So the answer is yes, but we already know that. So go again, Yuki. Different question.
Different question. And did Suji invite to he? No.
Use strategy.
What strategy?
Strategy. Try to find out facts about them. Try to find out information. What do they look like? Where are they?
Did little Jack and Jill were along with him?
So were little Jack and Jill?
Were little Jack and Jill along with
Harry?
With Harry?
Were they along with Harry? Yeah. They were along with Harry. Yes, they were along with him for sure. Okay. Why? You thought that maybe they weren't really there?
Yes.
No, they're definitely along with him because Harry has a big important conference that day. Very important. Okay, we're going to go around one more time. Shadow, we're back to you.
So, does he change his mind because his wife?
Change his mind because of his wife. Does he change his mind because of his wife? Oh, you keep asking these questions that I can't answer, Shadow. Does he change his mind because of his wife? Can you be a little more specific?
I mean, Susie didn't mention his wife. She just talked about she didn't talk when she didn't care about his wife. She get bored or something.
So you mean, does he change his mind because Susie didn't mention his wife?
Something like that, but
because Susie didn't mention his wife, but only Jack and Jill, right? If we ask it like that, I can answer. And I would say, does he change his mind because he didn't mention his wife? No. It's because of what she says about Jack and Jill. Specifically, it's because of what she says about Jack and Jill. What does she say? Do you remember?
She said that they can play with her children. If they
No, she didn't. She said her children can play with them. It's different. It's important. She doesn't say that they can play with her children. She says her children can play with them if they get bored. Very important, the wording. Okay, think about it. Sophie, Sophie, we're back to you for question number 2. We're back to you. So, based on what we've talked about so far, you've got to make another educated guess here. What do you think?
Can you repeat, please, teacher?
Second question.
Other question?
Second yes and no question. So, we know that there's a problem. So Shadow said, is there a problem? Is the problem that she asked him, Harry, to bring his children? I said, yes and no. You asked, does Harry hang up because Susie says her kids can play with Jack and Jill? Absolutely. That's the biggest clue I can give you so far. So your question, you're going to try to discover more about the situation by asking me a yes or no question. Try to discover a little bit more.
Jack and Jill, we don't decide.
Okay, try it like this. Start your question with either do or any kind of a verb. Do or can or will or the verb to be, are, and then you can add Jack and Jill. So for example, do Jack and Jill do something? Can Jack and Jill do something? But we've got to start with one of those verbs because it's a yes-no question. It's yes or no. For example, are you the teacher? Yes, I am. Right? Sophie, are you the student?
Yes.
Oh, yes, I am. So that's a yes or no question. Are you? Do you? Can you? Are they? Do they? Can they? Will they? Okay? So let's ask in that form. Want to try again?
Where to will find Harry and Susie?
Oh, but I can't ask with where. Not possible. Where are Harry and Susie? Is that it? Where are
Harry? Find.
Well,
will find.
Well, we have to ask the question in a different way. For example, we could say, are said Harry and Susie. Harry and Susie. We can ask like this, but remember, you need the verb first. So look up here for a second. You have to say verb plus your subject.
Are Harry and Susie in New York?
There you go. Are Harry and Susie both in New York? The answer is yes. Yes, they are all in New York. They're all in New York. Harry, Susie, Jane, and little Jack and Jill. All of them are in New York, actually. That's true. Prath, what do you think? We're back to you. We've only got 3 questions left, so make it good, Prath.
Did Harry sell the bone to the other museum?
Did Harry sell the bones?
To the other museum.
Oh, did Harry sell the bones to another Museum. Oh, I got you. I got you. That's a very good question. The answer is no. He really just changed his mind on the spot. In other words, while he was on the phone, because of what Susie said, he changed his mind. But he didn't sell them to anyone else. He did have the bones in his possession. He still had them. Good question. Very good. We're back to you, Yuki. 2 questions left, Yuki. What do you think?
Where is going to another museum? No, he realized just to change this.
In other words, he didn't say no because he sold them to another museum, right? So he still has the bones. That's not why he got offended.
That's important. It's important that why he changed the mind.
It is. It's the most important thing, and it happens because of what Susie asks him. Don't forget. That was Shadow's. No, that was. Yeah, go ahead.
That's why Harry changed his mind, connected to their child, his child.
Good question. Not does, but is. Why
Harry changed his mind suddenly, connected to his child,
connected to
Jack and Jill.
His children. Okay.
Sorry. Not
connected
Jack.
to his children.
Jane,
the answer is. Oh, sorry.
His child is Jane. No.
Oh, we don't know. We don't know. We just know that he's a world-famous archaeologist. Let me answer your question first. The answer is yes.
Yes.
Basically.
Basically. Why basically?
Because I can't answer that. But yes. It is definitely connected. Well,
it's a big hint. Yeah, basically. Why big basically?
Basically. Yeah, because look how I wrote your question. Is why Harry changed his mind suddenly connected to his children? If I answer like that, I have to say no. If I say it like that, I have to say no. But wait a second. Like this. But look, Yuki. If I take out children, and I say connected to Jill, then
that's
I have
a key
to
point.
Say yes.
Most important thing is who is children. Yeah, who are children?
I think so.
Concrete. Yes.
I think we're back to Shadow.
Okay,
am I right?
Follow me.
Teacher, what's the difference between Jack and Jill and his children? It's the same.
I can't answer that. That's not a yes or no question.
Yes.
You've got to be strategic, Shadow. Ask me a question that I can answer.
Okay.
You know what you want to know, but you got to phrase it as a yes or no question.
Okay.
So,
is he changed his mind? No. Is he think? No. Does he think?
Are Jack and Jill? Keep it simple.
Are Jack and Jill is the children?
Are Jack and Jill his children? No.
That's very good.
No,
they aren't.
I was going to ask another question, really.
I know, but that's the right question.
Yeah, I thought he got upset because she said, if they get bored, I mean her children, if they get bored, they will play with his children.
That is why he got upset.
Yeah.
That's exactly the reason why.
Oh, okay.
You got the point, yes.
Question number 10. We've got one final question. So everyone's had a chance to go twice. I'll leave it up to the group. Who wants the last yes or no question? Who wants it? Don't all volunteer at once.
Oh, we're afraid.
Well, you're still going to have a chance to make a guess, but you get one more question, okay? One more question. So who wants the last one? Actually, Shadow, you've gone 3 times, so you don't get a chance to guess. But Sophie, Yuki, and Prath, you can each, one of you gets to ask one more question. Who wants the last question?
Jack and Jill want to play with bones?
Ah, that's a good question. Do Jack and Jill? We got to ask it like that, Sophie. Do Jack and Jill want to play with bones? And the answer to that is absolutely not. They don't want anything at all. Wow, that's a pretty big hint there. So, to finish up, we're going to go to our conditionals. To create a conditional, don't forget the formula that you can see on your screen right now on page 3. The conditionals that we've learned in the past and that you can review right now are in this handy little chart. The basic ones are the real and unreal, and you can see the formula. The real is if plus present plus will. The unreal is if plus past plus would. And then we have this really unreal that we use to talk about the past. If plus past perfect plus would have. In last week's class, we did an example. If I get hungry, I'll cook lunch for myself and everyone, first conditional, because that's with will. And I'll put the will word in bold. If I was hungry, I would cook. I'll put that one in bold so you can see it as well. That's the second conditional, or the unreal. Whenever I am hungry, I cook. Here, that is the 0 conditional because there are 0 modal verbs. There's no will, there's no shall, there's no may, there's no could. The last one is the one we used to talk about the past. If I had gotten hungry in the past, I'd have cooked lunch for everyone. That is our really unreal conditional, or the third conditional. You can see that on the left side. So what you're going to do is make an educated guess. You can talk about the past. Therefore, you would use, if I had gotten hungry, I'd have. You can use that form. Or you can talk about the present and try to speculate, try to guess. Well, if Jack and Jill didn't like to play with bones, maybe Harry would get upset. And I'd say, no, that's not the reason. Okay, so using your conditionals, I'd like you to make an educated guess. I want you to see if you can figure out the mystery now. Okay? So, who wants to make a conditional mystery guess? By the way, I'll help you. If you're not sure how to form the conditional, I'll help you form it. Okay? So, give it your best shot, and then I'll correct if it needs to be correct. Shadow, what's your guess?
No, I can make a sentence like conditional.
Try to make a conditional sentence to explain what you're thinking. Sure.
Okay, if she doesn't mention his, if she doesn't mention the children.
She doesn't mention his children, right?
He will continue the agreement, or he will I mean, continue what they want to do. I don't know.
They would continue with their agreement.
Yeah.
Okay. If she, we got to say that using the second conditional. Actually, it would sound better. Look, if she hadn't mentioned.
Yeah, you're right. He would have continue.
That's right. That's it.
Yeah.
He would have continued on with
Mhm.
their agreement. And that is true. Except, whoops, it's not spelled like that. True. Except there's a little problem here. I have to change that a little bit. I've got to say, if she hadn't mentioned, I either have to change it to her children or I have to change it to Jack and Jill.
Mhm.
So I'm going to change it like this: Jane, Jack, and Jill. I could change it the other way too, but this one is, trust me, this one works. If she hadn't mentioned Jack, Jane, and Jill, he would have continued on with their agreement. That's a true statement. Okay?
Mhm.
Yuki, Prath, Sophie, can you make a conditional that lets me know a little bit about what you're thinking?
If
Yep.
if Suji hadn't mentioned, hadn't added
Right.
um, that Harry should bring Jane and little Jack and Jill along with him.
Right. Jane and little Jack and Jill. Right.
Harry hadn't recanted his agreement.
Wait a second. It's second conditional. So Harry
would fulfill his agreement.
would
fulfill.
Okay. That's fine. You could even say Harry would have fulfilled. You could say both here, because we can mix the conditionals sometimes, and this is a case where we could actually mix them together. So if Susie hadn't, which is second conditional, Harry would have fulfilled, which is the third conditional, but it's okay. It still is good. You don't have to say it.
Is it okay saying after that Harry should bring in this sentence of third conditional? Is it right to say that Harry should bring?
Should bring? Oh, I'm sorry. If Susan hadn't added that Harry should bring Jack and Jill along, Harry would have. Is it right?
Right. Okay.
It's something that a native speaker would definitely say. I don't know if it's grammatic.
Or if Susie hadn't added to that, Harry should have
brought.
Brought.
Yeah, that sounds better. Sounds better. And the answer is, if Susan hadn't mentioned that, Harry would have fulfilled his agreement. True. It's true. If she hadn't mentioned that, he would definitely have fulfilled his agreement. That's true. Prath, do you want to add one? Sophie, Prath, do you want to add one more?
If Harry
Go ahead.
is connected to Jack and Will.
If Harry, well, wait, we know that he's connected. So, if Harry, we have to ask the question in a different way. We know that Harry is connected. It's true that he's connected. But here, we need to have two parts. The condition and then the result, right? So, for example,
if Harry had connected.
Okay, continue. I don't know what you want to say yet. Continue and I'll correct it.
If Harry had connected with Jack and Jill.
That's not correct. Look, this is why, Sophie. Look, if plus, if you want to use, you can use different conditionals, but we have to say if plus, for example, past, and then you have the condition, and then here you have the result. That would be would. Just as an example. So look, if Harry had what? Harry was crazy. If Harry was crazy, he might get angry for no reason. For no reason. I would say false. Oops.
Okay.
I would say false because Harry is not crazy. Just as an example. So you could say would, you could say could, you could say should, you could say might. They mean different things, but you could use all of those in the result. You have to have the condition and a result. Right? Resultado. You need the condition and the result. So there's the condition here. Here's the result. Two parts of the sentence. Beth, why don't you try one? And then we'll see if we all agree.
Okay. If Harry is not meet the Susie.
If Harry, say again, if Harry didn't
is
meet,
not, I will use the form if present simple.
what's that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Say again.
Okay. I will try to use form number.
I'll go up here. You've got these up here. 0, the first, second, and third.
I will use form 1.
The
form
first. The first is about the future, though. Do you want to talk about the future, or do you want to talk about the past?
Past.
So you got to use the form number 3, the third conditional, to talk about the past.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go down and we'll put it in the past. You say it and I'll correct it if it's necessary. Okay.
Okay. If Harry hadn't met Susie.
Hadn't met Susie.
Hadn't met Susie.
Good. Yeah.
Maybe he would have gone to somewhere.
Instead of saying maybe he would, I'll say he might. Because it means the same. He might have gone
to somewhere. Gone to
such
somewhere.
as what? Somewhere else?
Somewhere else.
Like another museum, you mean?
Maybe. or another place. I don't know. I just
I don't know how to answer that. I would say, well, no, I don't think so. I think no, I think he was in town for a lecture, so he'd still be in New York for sure because he has a lecture. Okay, you've done a few conditionals. Now it's time to solve the mystery. So, what really happened? Did you figure it out yet? The most important thing that I heard was, Yuki says, is why Harry changed his mind suddenly. Why did he change his mind suddenly connected to his children? And I said, well, you have to change it. Is why Harry changed his mind suddenly connected to Jack and Jill? Yes. There's your big clue. Shadow said, are Jack and Jill's children? No. So what does that tell you?
Mostly, the question is that Jack and Jill whose children? Yeah. Maybe.
Okay. Maybe.
Jack and Jill is not Jack's children. Yeah.
True. Jack and Jill are not Harry's children.
Harry's
True.
children.
Not true.
So whose children? That's the question.
Okay. You're still making
maybe his wife have an affair with other man.
Did his wife have an affair? No, she didn't have an affair.
Yeah.
Guess what? Guess what? His wife and he have been happily married for 50 years. No affairs. Come on, Shadow. You were like you had the closest guess right away. Come on.
Yeah, I think Jane and Jack and Jill it's not his family. They just by coincidence, I mean, were in New York, and Susie thought that they his family, and
right. Yeah, getting warmer. Right. Yeah.
I think maybe because of that he get angry.
That's right. So who are Jane, Jack, and Jill? Who are they? I got a better question for you. Question.
I think they are apes or.
They are apes.
Oh my God.
They're not just apes.
Really?
They're fossils. Jane, Jack, and Jill are the fossils that he brought back from Africa. They're ape fossils. They're the missing link.
They are alive? No?
They're dead.
Dead.
They're fossils. They're bones. Hey, don't you remember about 20 years ago?
Why the bone has a name?
They're always called. They're always given names.
Ah.
Don't you remember the James Leakey, or who was the paleontologist? You know, the family, the Leakey family. They explored Africa, and they every time they make a discovery, they always give it a name. The famous name was Lucy. When I was a kid, everyone was excited about Lucy. Lucy was a fossil, 3 feet tall, so really short, and they first thought it was a monkey, but then they did some tests and they realized that Lucy was, 1,000,000 years old or something like that. I don't remember how old. They always give them names. So Susie thought that Harry was with his wife and 2 children. She says, "Hey, if my kids are bored, they can just play with Jack and Jill." That means she's going to have her kids play with the fossils. He gets offended, and he hangs up the phone and rescinds his offer.
Sorry, so just to make me clear, Jane is not born, the name, yeah? Jane is Harry. Jane.
Jane's a fossil too. I'm sorry.
Jane is also fossil. So even if Jane and little Jack and Jill was a name, the name of bones, why Harry
changed his mind.
Changed his mind.
Because she said
you get angered.
Yeah, because she suggests that her children can play with his fossils, Jack and Jill, because she thinks Jack and Jill are the kids. But they're all fossils.
He could get it's just a joke. Why?
He could, but he's he's got a bad temper.
It's a strange story. I understand that they are born, but it is not the reason why Harry changed his mind. It's a very important decision.
Because he angry.
but they're priceless fossils. So he gets angry because she's suggesting that her kids will play with them. He gets offended. I got another one for you. Wait, I got another one. We don't have a lot of time. I don't know. Maybe I don't have enough time to do another one. Well, maybe I'll save it for another one. I've got a much easier one, but we don't have time today. Did I do the one about the man who drowns in his room? I don't think I did that one. I did the one about the guy who hangs himself, and I did the one about the boat and the people drowning, right? I got a new one for you. I got a new one, but we'll have to save it till next time. So, listen. What did you learn about yes and no questions? Just make sure that this is really clear. What did you learn? What do they need to start with? What can't they start with, and what do they need to start with?
Verb to be.
Verb to be. That's right. They can start with the verb to be.
Oh.
So Sophie, when I was correcting you, I was taking away words like where and what, but I was allowing words like are they, is he, right? Or start with the verb to do. Does he? Do they? Did they? All of those are acceptable in yes or no questions. That's right. Prath, which of those conditionals talks about the past, speculates about the past? Because that was the one I corrected you on, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Which one speculates about the past? 0, first, second, or third?
About the past.
Remember when I corrected you?
Number third.
Number 3, the third.
Third conditional.
That's right. And you can remember that one because it always has the verb have and had in it. So, if they hadn't been fossils, he would have accepted her offer, because if it had really been his children, sure, her kids could play with his kids. Sure, they could go out to dinner. Third conditional, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, very good.
Teacher, I have a question.
Go for it.
Why you use might?
What did I use?
Might. In my sentence.
My.
Might.
Which sentence? Sorry. Where? Just tell me where it is.
My sentence. I can't find.
Was it a question or was it a conditional? Sorry.
Conditional.
Okay.
Might, not may.
He means
Maybe.
might. Okay. The reason is this. So your sentence, let's just take a quick look. Let me share my screen. Let me take a quick look. Prath, 1 second. Here it is. This is it, isn't it? Right? It's this one here in yellow. Is that the one? I don't know if that was the one you did. Maybe not. No, that was the next one. I'm sorry. It's this one.
Yes, right.
Oh, that's it. Okay. Well, the reason is because you originally said he probably would. Remember? You said he probably would have gone somewhere else. Probably would. Right, Prath? Probably would equals might. They mean the same thing. Right? The difference is that might is the right word. Probably would is okay, but might, since it means the same thing, is a little bit shorter, and therefore it's the correct form. Probably would is okay. We would use that when we're speaking because we're thinking and talking at the same time. If we're writing, we tend to use just one word because it's more concise, so we would use might. But they mean the same thing. So which one is less certain? Would have gone or might have gone? Which one is less certain to happen? So just go up an example. Would have gone versus might have gone. Which one is less certain? Would or might?
Sorry, I don't understand. Last what?
Which one
Less.
is less certain?
Oh,
Which one is less certain of those two choices?
my.
Exactly. That's right. That's it.
Okay,
So,
I got it.
right? So this one is less certain than would. It's might. This one is more certain than might. That's it. That's it exactly.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Thank you. Well, that was the mystery. That was the mystery of the fossils. I hope you enjoyed this week's conditional mystery. I'll be back
Something
in the
I don't
next.
understand.
Yeah, teacher, I want to ask you a question just about the short story because I read it, but I don't know what I have to do because you said there is a questions.
Oh, I didn't send the questions. I didn't have time yet.
Okay.
But I will. I didn't have time yesterday to send it, but I will. So
Okay.
the questions were just there to help you think as you read it, to help you, to guide you in how you might want to think about it, to try to get you to notice some important details. But yes, I still have to send them to you, so you didn't receive them. That's why
Okay.
you didn't know what to do. My fault.
Okay. Thank you.
But I'll do it. Okay, everyone. That's it for now. I'll be back on Monday. Yes, I'll be back on Monday for Pronunciation Basics at 10 GMT and the next business results at 11 GMT. Bye for now. Have a great weekend, everyone. See you soon. Any questions?
Bye.
Send them to me in the message system and I'll answer them.
Okay, have a good weekend.
Bye.
See you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
teacher.